Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the Uptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Thursday, August 13th, 2026. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures are currently above fair value, while commodities are trading a little lower this morning. We do have the U.S. jobless claims and PPI numbers coming out at 8:30 this morning. Those numbers could certainly help change the direction of the market. Looking at the VIX or the Fear Index, we hit new lows yesterday for the S&P 500, for the NASDAQ, and for the Russell 2000. So options traders certainly not worried coming into Thursday's trading action. Looking at the major index ETFs, we had one major trend change yesterday. We have the banks back on a buy signal. The iShares for the TSX 60 rose up, and we got as high as 54.67. Our price target is 54.69. Hopefully you've got an order in already that's been filled. And so we're just sitting waiting to get kicked out of this position. Looking at the bank ETF, it is back on a buy signal. We still held 75 as support. So that is positive. I'd get more excited if we started to trade above the recent high. When you open up the financial ETF and look at the individual stocks, you see we had a lot of buy signals in the major banks yesterday. Those are heading higher. Looking at the U.S. market, no major trend changes here from yesterday's trading action. The Vanguard Total Market ETF still stuck at resistance and not able to break out just yet. The Dow hit resistance last week and we haven't been back to retest it. Still waiting for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ to start breaking out to higher highs. You can see the NASDAQ reversed yesterday, so couple of days in a row where we traded higher and then reversed going into the close. Looking at the iShares for the Russell 2000, still trying to hit our next price target. We have been trading above the $300 level, so that is no longer resistance. Now, semiconductors reversed yesterday, still closed higher on the day. We're still on a buy signal here, but when you see the pros sell off going into the close, that's usually a bearish sign. So yes, the pros are in control at the moment, but they're really not being aggressive here whatsoever. So that is not a very good sign, but we are coming into Thursday's trading action still on a buy signal. Looking at the world of commodities, no trend changes here. Quiet day for crude oil yesterday. Gasoline closed slightly lower. Natural gas closed slightly higher. Looking at the stocks, the Canadian energy sector was up 1/3%, yes. And then in New York, we were up just half of that on Wednesday's trading action. Copper pulled back slightly. Copper miners down 1/3% yesterday. No change there. A new high for this move for the GLD hit our next price target. So congratulations, you got to lock in some profits there. Looking at the gold stocks in New York, still trying to get to 93.75, and that would fill the open gap from back in May. Then looking at Toronto, we hit our next price target and reversed. And again, we're trying to fill the open gap from back in May. So that could be the end of this particular move for gold stocks. Hopefully you had a chance to lock in some profits there. Pros are still in control, so not expecting a trend change on Thursday, but certainly would expect a pullback of some sort. Looking at silver, it moved up yesterday. Silver miners moved up. We're trying to get to 93.75 and got as high as 93.40 yesterday. And yesterday turned out to be a bearish reversal day. Looking at palladium and platinum, they're both still on buy signals. No change expected there. Looking at the Canadian market, no trend changes in the 10 most actively traded stocks. We've got Enbridge having a quiet day yesterday, still clustering around the 71.88 level. Looking at $70 as support. If that breaks, 68.75 would be our next target to the downside. Air Canada was the big winner yesterday. It ran through our next price target, and we're still trying to get to 32.81. Then looking at some of the energy stocks, Canadian Natural Resources, Whitecap, Cenovus, all still on buy signals here. No change there. TELUS still on a sell signal. No change for TELUS. Manulife getting swiped around up here. I know some people that have moved to the midterm chart for Manulife, but you also have to look at who's in control. And it looks like the pros want to give up on Manulife up at this level. If you look at the daily panic zone chart, you can see the early warning signals at the top of the screen. We're currently projecting down into September down towards the $53 level. And then if you look at the weekly flypaper channel, it's coming up towards $50. So over the next few weeks, we should expect this to rise to meet up with the bottom of the panic zones here. We don't have, the market is not selling off just yet. We're just looking at what could possibly happen. And of course, the market can turn around at any time and continue to move higher. Looking at Equinox Gold, still on a buy signal here, no change there, no change for Keel Infrastructure. And B2 Gold, no change there. If we go back a week and look at our price targets, 625, 703 were the next two price targets, and we ran up, hit the 703 level. So you got both orders filled on the same day, 625, 703. And our next target to the upside is 781. But notice back in May, we did not make it all the way up to that level. So the target is the top of the May high, not 781. Looking at the U.S. market, one trend change here, a buy signal for Nokia. Otherwise, SpaceX continued to move higher on Wednesday. Pro still in control. And then we've got Supermicro having a great day yesterday, up over 19%. Ran through two price targets yesterday, so congratulations. You got to hit the cash register and lock in some profits twice on Wednesday. Looking at Intel, no change there. Pro still in control, but really have no interest right now. That's unfortunate. There's Nokia back on a buy signal. Then we've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA still stuck here at 225. If we can break out above that, then 237.50 would be our next target. And we did not make it up to that level back in May. Looking at Plug Power, still on a buy signal here. Pros don't have a lot of interest at the moment. They are in control, but there's not a lot of enthusiasm for Plug Power at the moment. Compare that to CoreWeave. CoreWeave popped yesterday. We were trying to get to 112.50. We got as high as 111.83. Now, if I was trading this stock, I wouldn't have got my order filled there yesterday as well. I would have had an order in at 111.89. And yeah, so I wouldn't have got my order filled. So still waiting to see if we can hit 112.50. Then looking at Ondas, still on a buy signal here. You can see the pros a lot more interested in Ondas than the previous stock that we looked at. And then looking up, we're trying to get to 10.94. Of course, $10 is a big round number that could possibly act as resistance. And the high yesterday was $9.99. So you have to conclude that $10 is acting as resistance at the present time. There's Hertz still on a buy signal here. Next target, 313. And then we've got PATH coming off a new high up at the $16 level on Tuesday, pulling back slightly on Wednesday. Pro still in control, so not looking for a possible trend change on Thursday. Now, because we've moved up 50% in the last month, the price targets have contracted here. We had to expand the price targets over the last month because we moved up so quickly. So you've really had several opportunities along the way to lock in some profits. So you should be sitting with just a partial position waiting to get kicked out of this stock, which could continue to move higher from here. We don't know that, and there's no guarantee of a sell signal anytime soon. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. So far, it looks like we're going to have a fairly quiet open, but I am concluding this video before the 8:30 economic announcements, which could certainly change the direction of the market. Have a great Thursday. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.